Apple did
Yes.
a pretty good Q4, actually, right? It's
Only pretty good? No,
just pretty good,
no
just pretty good.
Coming from the guy that wants to get a 14-inch MacBook.
Hey. I gotta love that butterfly keyboard, man. That is so good. And of course, when we do our live shows, I do want a 1080p webcam as well. And I don't really want to attach mine.
For all you listeners.
Bro.
Crowdfunding.
Yes. Hey, listeners, if you want to donate to a 14-inch MacBook Pro to see me in a 1080p resolution, please go for it. I can send you my pay now, no problem. All right, yeah, but Apple, in all fairness, folks, had its largest quarter ever, right? His revenue is somewhere around 123 billion. That's actually an 11% increase from last year, Q4. Okay. That's intense. Wow. That's actually quite big. I think it's largest sales quarter ever, right? Like I said.
Yeah, I mean, like 11% revenue growth is like meh, but you look at the actual number and go, they grew like 10 billion. They grew 10 billion in a year, right?
Massive. So I think that's firstly very, very important, right? And I think the other one to note is its iPhone sales. In Q4, it saw a 9% increase in iPhone sales. Again, the percentage doesn't say much, but it's 71 billion in iPhone sales in Q4.
Okay.
That's intense. Now, if you take that away, what is that? 71 million iPhones? Because on average, an iPhone costs $1,000.
Is it? No idea,
almost,
maybe a bit more, but it's insane the amount of iPhones that went across, right? And not to mention they were, right, as we talked about in Stock Geek Out and Market Updates, was the supply chain issues with the semiconductors, with the chipsets, and they were still able to pull out this amount, right? So I think...
I remember talking a while back that, they're going to have supply chain issues. They don't think it will be fantastic, and I guess they were wrong. And they being Apple themselves.
Yeah, exactly. They said they don't think they're going to see it. We're like, yeah, sure, whatever. The whole world is facing it. How come Apple doesn't? But the numbers say for itself, right? That's intense. And Tim Cook actually said as well that he expects that he had supply chain issues in Q4, but he expects supply chains constraints to improve in Q1. So I'm like, what are these numbers that are going to pop up in Q1?
I don't know. I mean, Apple is just something that I don't quite understand. And I don't own any Apple products, so maybe that's why I don't understand it. Right. So if you want to give me an Apple product so I can understand it, I don't mind as well.
Start with the phone, my man.
Apple be really carrying the whole of the S&P.
Yeah, it was actually, that is so true. I think I heard that quote from somewhere else as well. It's intense.
And it's a hard carry, this one.
It's not just iPhones, it's Mac, right? And as clearly you guys have been making fun of me on buying the 14-inch Pro MacBook. Mac actually had a 25% increase in sales for Q4.
Oh,
right? And
nice.
That is quite big. It's highest ever increase quarter on quarter. It's insane. And I mean, in all fairness, I do think it's down to the 14 and 16 inch. I don't know that for sure, but I think because of my bias. So
trying too high, Rakesh.
And think about it, you haven't even bought it yet.
I haven't, I know.
Wait till he gets it in quarter one. Puts the numbers up.
Yeah. Definitely. So I think that's definitely one of the things to take note of, folks. Apple is doing well, even though we expected it to really sort of, have a decent quarter, but not this well, right? But I think one of the questions that I have for you, right? Apple's got a stellar quarter. Of course, Q4 is usually a very good year for Apple, right?
Yep.
Christmas, New Year, Chinese New Year. I'm sure people have bought it earlier. And not to mention, Apple actually released one of the things they did to improve supply chain was that they gave, instead of a 14-day refund, I believe they gave a 90-day refund.
Okay.
Right? I do believe it's 90 days, 3 months. So if you buy it in October, right after the announcement of the iPhone, you could return it after Christmas.
Oh.
So you buy it now and then give it in Christmas. But if the guy doesn't want it, he can give it back to Apple. Okay. I thought that was genius. Because what they did is that staggered, right? Because probably what happened was that usually people buy 14 days before Christmas or 10 days before Christmas and then give it. So if you don't want, you can always just go and return it. But they've actually
so they kind of pulled forward demand.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. But in that case, helping the supply chain. So I think, I don't know who came up with that, but we have to credit Tim Cook for this, right? A lot of stick has been going to Tim Cook for not innovating and this and that, but he was the previous COO, and clearly the operations and supply chain have been amazing.
He's a brilliant operations.
That's true. That's true.
I think no doubt.
Yeah,
about
where's my iPhone, guys? 90-day refunds, I can't use it yet.
Oh my God. Yeah. But, and moving into Q1, I think that's where the listeners want to know, right? Of course, with this news, stock price went up, I believe 5%, 7%. Of course, as Jeff mentioned, it's literally carrying the whole S&P 500 on its back, and then some.
Microsoft also doing well.
Microsoft number 2, right? Apple number 1. Yeah. But Q1 for me is completely different, right? Because the holiday season is over. What do you guys think of Apple, right? Do you think as everyone always says, keep buying and hold? But do you guys foresee any issues?
Yeah, on the back of what we have been talking about, Tim Cook being CEO and what's not, right? What about the operating expenses that comes in above expectation? Yeah, because the whole macro thing we have been talking about, inflation taking its toll. So how does it affect Apple? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good one, right? I think with regards to that, I do expect it to increase. Definitely. And I do see a higher cost in Q1, right? For sure. With inflation being the way it is. I believe, Jeff, you also mentioned wages did go up as well, right?
Yep.
I think in our previous episodes. So I do expect that to increase. So profit probably would go down. I would expect Apple's profit to go down. Revenue, however, is the other question. That one I think it will go down because it's not the giving season anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, right?
But I guess that's kind of seasonality, right? So
yes.
If you strip away seasonality, we compare to Q1 2021, it will still be fantastic. It's just not great, I guess, quarter-on-quarter growth, but year-on-year it should be okay.
Yes, absolutely. But that said, though, right? Apple has actually tried to penetrate China a bit more. So, in 2020, I believe Huawei was the highest selling smartphone in China, and in 2021. Actually, Apple has overtaken Huawei in China.
Oh,
so I thought that's a pretty good angle, pretty good thing to look at, and I think that's another area of them that they're looking to expand, especially in Q1 and in 2022.
Yeah, they better not piss off Xi Jinping, man. I mean, look, that's the fear about China, right? You are so, if you want it as a growth center, you want it as, you want to push in China, you have to be very careful. Right? You could make one small marketing mistake that the entire country gets up in arms about, I guess offending their racial sensibilities, and there you go. You are no longer, nobody wants to buy a product, and you lose an entire market. Right? So yes, China's great. They're doing well there, but I think there's also that downside, which is slightly inherent in China, where it's just so big, but a small misstep could be quite fatal.
Absolutely. Definitely, right. But yeah, that's why Q1 for me is really of a question mark. I do know they're focusing a lot on their subscriptions, and their services revenue, right? They've got the Fitness Plus going. They've got the Apple TV Plus. They've got I think they've called something all in one where you get everything, right? And then you sort of push for that. They are looking to focus on that, but is that, well, what do you guys think? Do you think that they should just focus on their iPhones and their Macs? Do you think that this shift in focus is a decent thing for Apple?
I thought it was smart. I mean, look, hardware at the end of the day, yes, Apple is premium. They have great operating margins, but I don't think those margins can ever beat whatever they get from the App Store. Right? So they take a 30% cut from the App Store on every single purchase. Right? Yep. You buy an app for $10, they take 3 and the other 7 goes to the app developer. It's insane. And it's for maintaining the App Store, there's no innovation there. Right? So that margin, they're just a gatekeeper now and collecting a toll, and maybe that changes with the law and all that, but for now it's a fantastic play, right? And if you can keep pushing that, or if they can make further walled gardens with like the IDFA thing, so that they can sell their own ads instead of like letting Facebook sell their ads, then those are the high margin areas that they seem to be growing, right? And I guess if I were a bull, I'll be like, this is where they can grow and where they can be great.
Yeah, well,
Jeff, what do you think?
I think from my perspective itself, it's good that they are venturing into different part of the businesses, right? So like how the iPhones have been a lot more expensive over the years, and I mean, number shows for itself that it's been going up and things like that. But as a average Joe, if you already have a working iPhone and what's not, with the price, hiking so quickly as well, I mean, I wouldn't change my phone that often for sure. And that's going to be an issue for like, it's going to be a price war thing with Samsung and everyone else, right? And, having to stick your fingers into different pies where you look into like fitness plus kind of thing. Then at one point they were competing with Spotify, with Apple Music, and look where they are. They're still remaining competitive in that sense. And I'm just very curious how this whole fitness plus will eventually work out, and how will they be able to phase out, the rest of their competitors, because it seems like there's still a huge reliance on having to use their own Apple products. Yeah. But what happens if you are not a Apple enthusiast?
Yes.
Yeah, that's another question altogether.
Yeah. No, completely agree with that, right? And I think that's the way they keep people in the ecosystem, right? So obviously, as I have to say, right, I'm following that cult of Apple. I can't say anything otherwise. I'm trying to be unbiased here, but
yeah, my girlfriend as well.
That's why they. All right.
She's a sucker for Apple,
and that's why I would, And in all fairness, right, there are so many things that I'm a Spotify subscriber, not an Apple Plus subscriber, but on my watch, I'm thinking, because Spotify is so hard to download on my watch, Apple Music is so easy to just download on my watch, that at a point in time I was actually thinking of swapping, because they've got roughly the same music, right? You can listen to whatever you want on there, and the usability is that's just that simple.
I guess that's their type of lock-in, right?
Yes.
And it's kind of the same the other way around on Google and Android. So, once you have one of their products, they just keep making you buy other types of their products, and then they make apps for their products. And they try to lock you in there. I mean, this is absolutely terrible from a competition perspective. Come on, lawmakers, do something about it. It is ridiculous, right? Platforms should not extract so much value. I mean, yes, they have value, but they should extract it. So, sorry, a bit ranty there. Yeah, but at the end of the day, look, like our podcasts on Apple Music and Spotify. Thank you very much. I think that's the key takeaway here.
Apple Podcasts, sorry, but yes.
Yes, Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Absolutely.